Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, it's enough, it's enough. What's the first thing you see when you look at art? There's a lot of different ways of making art. Like this video, for example. It's a motion picture. Or, if you use a still camera, you might snap some still pictures. Maybe you use pen and paper to draw on. Or maybe you're a sculptor and you create a sculpture and place it in a park. Whatever your art medium is, one thing they all share in common is the first thing that you see is its composition. And that's what we're here to talk about today, how artists use subject and environment to compose a picture and make you look at stuff. It's the center of interest. So here we are, ready to make some art. If composition is the first thing you see when looking at a piece of art, I don't think I'm giving you a very good example right now. It's just a big picture of me against a pretty blank, boring background. It's even got this line right there in the middle. It's probably not the best composition. But that's not what today's video is about. It is about the subject matter, the center of interest, basically the main actor in our story. Looking at this painting, it has a main subject. That is a boat. But what is it doing? What is the story that it is telling? As we pull back from the subject matter, we see that it is in an environment that includes dramatic storm clouds and giant waves. So we see that this boat has recently been in a storm that has broken a mast and people are scrambling to fix it. And that is the story. So not all paintings have a very elaborate background or environment. Sometimes darkness serves as that environment to put more emphasis on the light of the candle and how it shines upon the skull and the books. And consider the Statue of Liberty. What a different narrative it would be if it was just stuck between some buildings versus on that massive pedestal on an island in the harbor. That environment becomes part of the story, becomes part of the sculpture itself. So the first task in creating a work of art is just understanding that ultimately we want to tell a story and that the final piece is going to be a composition that encompasses both a subject and an environment. But first, we need a subject. Any volunteers? Any volunteers? I'm looking for volunteers. Oh, hello. I found a volunteer. Our volunteer is a live model, your hand, right? A hand can be very expressive, right? It could relay a lot of emotions. It could be very forceful. It can be very gentle. It can be very soothing. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, it's enough, it's enough. You know, it could be very expressive. So that's what we're going for here, is just trying to create a sense of drama, or maybe a sense of calmness, or maybe a sense of agitation with the pose of our model, our hand. Most of the time when people make drawings of hands, it's like, oh, I'm gonna just trace my hand, right? But that's kind of boring. Think of all the emotion that a hand can hold. Get it? A hand can hold. What would you like to tell the audience? I don't know. Got an idea? Alright, what's your idea? Okay, what are you saying there? What are you saying? That you're gonna get them. Oh my gosh, you look very, very dramatic and forceful. Okay, can you look a little more gentle? an open hand, and you're opening your hand. You're like, be gentle, right? Fist is very strong, right? Back fist versus the front of the fist, or wait, what's the front? What's the back? Look at all those nice emotions a hand can have. Maybe if you kind of droop down, kind of weak, right? Got a lot more energy that way. You might even want to consider giving your actor a little bit of support. Maybe like a prop or something to help tell a different kind of story. A hammer. Wow. That could be kind of scary. Maybe even something a little more gentle, or maybe, you know, bringing in a smaller element. Man, you're a good actor. All right. Tell you what, why don't you come back in just a little bit, and I'll give these guys a few more tips and tricks on how to get that hand onto a piece of paper. Okay. So if our first task is to focus on the subject, which is going to be our hand, we have to decide, we have to make a few decisions on what kind of emotion to give it, what pose to put it in, and what angle. Now there's a bunch of ways that you can go about doing this. One, you can go back to the contour line drawing hands that we did, where we really just observed how the hand looked and we got the outlines of it, and so you would basically be drawing from life. So what I would recommend you do in that case is, you know, give yourself a bunch of positions, do a bunch of little sketches, gesture sketches, contour line sketches, whatever it is, or however you want, just to get that initial emotion. Another thing you can do is you can take a photograph of your hand, so this way you at least have a reference of it. Thing I'm not really promoting, but you can also take a photograph of your hand in the pose that you like, print it out, and kind of use it as a guide. I don't really like the idea of tracing. I'd rather have the emotions of the artist come through by hand versus kind of a mechanical copying of the hand, if that makes sense. But either way, our goal is to ultimately draw the hand about life size. So please don't trace around the hand, that's not the idea. But our final piece, the final product, the final composition, the hand will be about life size. And if you have multiple hands, right, then there's nothing wrong in drawing just a bunch of extra sketches, because you can always kind of mix and match them and intertwine and have them interact with each other. Because if one hand is quite a character, imagine how two hands can be. What kind of story can you tell with that? What's going on there, guys? Be nice. Yeah! So just to recap, we're learning how to compose a picture. We are doing it through subject and environment. Right now we're concentrating on our subject, which will be our center of interest. We're looking at how to pose your subject, which is your hand, different angles or whatnot. So we're just right now getting as many sketches and drawings of the hand in about life size, so that we can incorporate it ultimately into a composition.